trust strangers with our lives every single day. We summon them from the internet, hop into their back seats, and close our eyes, trusting that the person behind the wheel is just trying to make a few extra dollars. But sometimes, the person in the front seat isn't looking for money. Sometimes they're looking for something else entirely. Here are 3 true horror stories from rideshare apps that might make you think twice before you accept that next ride. My name is Kyle. I've been driving for Uber for about 2 years now. I do it part-time, mostly weekends and late nights when the surge pricing kicks in. The money's decent enough and most rides are pretty uneventful. This all started back in October. I picked up this guy around 11 p.m. on a Saturday. The pickup location was a bar downtown, and the drop-off was way out in the suburbs, maybe a 30-minute drive. When he got in, he seemed normal enough. Sketchy-looking guy, maybe in his 40s, but nothing too out of the ordinary for that time of night. He sat in the back and didn't say much. About 10 minutes into the drive, I noticed him on his phone. He was holding it up, angled toward me. I glanced in the rear view, and it looked like he was recording or taking pictures. I didn't think much of it. People do weird stuff in Ubers all the time. We got to his house, and he got out without a word. I drove off and forgot about it. About a week later, I got another ride request. Different name, different pickup location. But when the guy got in, something felt familiar. Same general build, same coat. I couldn't place it at first, but halfway through the ride, I remembered the phone thing. I checked the mirror, and sure enough, he was doing it again. Holding his phone up, pointed at me. I remember thinking it was strange that this happened twice, but I wasn't quite able to connect the dots. Maybe he was just weird. Maybe he was documenting all his rides for safety or something. I dropped him off at a different address, and that was that. It wasn't until the third time, about 5 days later, that I realized it was definitely the same person. Different name on the app again. But when he got in the car, I knew. Same guy, same coat, and this time, the drop-off address was the same as the first ride. That's when I started to freak out a little. This guy was specifically requesting me, using different accounts, and I had no idea why. I didn't say anything during the ride. I just drove and tried to act normal. When we got to his house, he leaned forward before getting out. "See you next week, Kyle." I froze. He used my name, but the way he said it made my heart drop. Like he knew something I didn't. I reported it to Uber that night, told them some passenger was harassing me or whatever. They said they'd look into it. I didn't hear anything back. The next Friday, I got another request. I almost didn't accept it, but the pickup was downtown near a police station, so I figured it was safe enough. When I pulled up, it was him again. He got in the back seat, like nothing was weird about this. "Hey, Kyle." I didn't respond. I just started driving to the address he'd put in. My brain couldn't catch up to what was happening. This guy had found a way to keep requesting me specifically, and I had no idea how. About halfway through the drive, he started talking. Not to me, but on his phone. He was describing the route we were taking turn by turn. At that point, I knew something was seriously wrong. I pulled over at a gas station and told him to get out. He just smiled and got out without arguing. I immediately ended the ride and drove home. I didn't drive for Uber the rest of that weekend. I filed another report, more detailed this time. Uber deactivated his accounts, all 3 that I knew of. and told me it was handled. I felt better for a while. Then about 3 weeks later, I was driving home from my day job. I stopped at a red light and happened to glance at the car next to me. It was him, in the driver's seat, staring directly at me. Same guy. He smiled and waved. The light turned green and I took off. I have no idea if he followed me. I didn't look. That was 4 months ago. I stopped driving for Uber entirely. I still see cars that look like his sometimes, and I get that same feeling. I don't know what he wanted or why he was doing any of it. My name is Jenna. I've been driving for Uber for about 1.5 years, mostly around the city during rush hour and weekend nights. It's been a good side income, and I've never had any major issues with passengers until this happened. This all started in late November. I got a ride request around 9 p.m. The pickup was at an apartment complex on the east side, nothing unusual. The passenger's name was Mike, and the destination was only about 10 minutes away. When I pulled up, a guy in his 30s got in. He seemed fine, said hello, and we headed out. The ride was quiet at first. Then maybe 5 minutes in, he asked if I could make a quick stop at a convenience store. I said sure, people ask that all the time. He went in, came back out with a bag, and we continued to his drop-off. When we got there, he handed me a $20 bill and told me to keep the change. The fare was only like $8, so it was a decent tip. I thanked him, and he got out. I didn't think much of it. 2 nights later, I got another request from Mike at the same apartment complex. When he got in, I recognized him immediately. Same guy, same convenience store stop, same generous tip at the end. I figured he was just a regular who liked tipping well. This pattern continued for about 2 weeks. Every few nights, I'd get a request from him. Always the same route, always the same stop, always the same tip. Eventually, I started to recognize his requests before even accepting them. Then one night, the request came through, but the destination was different. Way different. It was an address almost 40 minutes outside the city, in a rural area I'd never driven to before. I almost canceled, but the fare estimate was high, and I needed the money. When he got in, he seemed more quiet than usual. No small talk, no friendly greeting. Just got in and sat in the back. About 20 minutes into the drive, we were on a dark country road. No street lights, no other cars. That's when he leaned forward. "You're going to want to take the next left?" I told him the GPS was taking us straight, but he insisted, said it was a shortcut. I didn't feel right about it, but I also didn't want to argue. I took the left. The road got narrower. Trees on both sides, no houses, nothing. My heart was pounding at that point. I slowed down and told him I was turning around, that this didn't feel like the right way. "Keep going." His voice was different. Flat. I looked in the mirror and he was staring right at me. I didn't hesitate. I stopped the car, told him to get out. He didn't move, just sat there, staring. I reached for my phone to call 911, and that's when he opened the door and got out on his own. I took off immediately, turned around, and drove back to the main road as fast as I could. I ended the trip and reported him to Uber that night. About a week later, I got a notification that he'd requested me again. I declined it. He requested again an hour later. Declined again. This happened maybe 4 or 5 times over the next few days before the requests stopped. That was 3 months ago. I still drive for Uber, but I don't accept rides in that area anymore. I've never seen him again, but sometimes I get requests from accounts with different names that have the same pickup location. I always decline them. My name is Marcus. I've been driving for Uber for about 3 years. I mostly do airport runs and late-night bar pickups because that's where the money is. I've had plenty of drunk passengers, weird conversations, and people getting sick in my car, but nothing that ever really scared me. This all started in early December. I got a request for a pickup at a hotel near the airport around 2 a.m. The passenger's name was something generic, like John or Chris. I don't remember. When I pulled up, a woman got in instead. She was probably in her late 20s, dressed nice, like she'd been at an event or something. She gave me an address and we started driving. She was on her phone the whole time, texting. About 10 minutes in, she asked if I could take a different route. Said there was construction on the main road. I checked my GPS and didn't see anything, but I figured she knew the area better than I did. We took the alternate route. It was darker, less traffic, but it seemed fine. When we got to her drop-off, she thanked me and left a 5-star rating. Normal ride. 3 days later, I got another request from the same hotel. Same time, around 2 a.m., different name on the account, but when I pulled up, it was the same woman. She got in and I recognized her immediately. I didn't say anything about it. Some people travel a lot, stay at the same hotels, whatever. We started the drive, and again, about 10 minutes in, she asked me to take a different route. Same excuse about construction. I remember thinking it was weird that this happened twice, but I wasn't quite able to connect the dots. Maybe she just preferred that route for some reason. It wasn't until the 4th time, same hotel, same woman, same request to change routes, that I realized something was off. There was never any construction. The route she wanted me to take went past this industrial area with a bunch of warehouses, totally empty at night. This time, when she asked me to change routes, I told her I was going to stick with the GPS. She got quiet, just stared out the window. We were maybe 5 minutes from her drop-off when she got a phone call. She answered it and started talking in a language I didn't recognize. Then she said something in English. Yeah, he's not taking the usual route tonight. My heart dropped. I glanced in the mirror, and she was looking right at me. At that point, I knew I needed to get out of this situation. I pulled into a 24-hour gas station and told her the ride was over, that she needed to get out. She didn't argue, just got out and walked away. I sat there for a few minutes trying to figure out what just happened. Then I checked the drop-off address she'd entered. I put it into Google Maps and it wasn't a house or apartment. It was an empty lot next to one of those warehouses. I reported everything to Uber and the police. Uber deactivated her accounts, but the cops said there wasn't much they could do without more evidence. They told me it sounded like I might have been getting set up for something, maybe a carjacking or robbery. That was 2 months ago. I still drive for Uber, but I don't accept requests from that hotel anymore. And I never take alternate routes, no matter what the passenger says.